Here we are. I am doing yet another M12 draft. Um, I just started this recording with a few seconds off the clock, so I'll try and comment quickly. It looks like Day of Judgment's going to be the pick. I don't know if Day of Judgment's that strong in this format. I've never had an opportunity to play with it. It's been okay against me in the past. It's actually the only board sweeper right now, so it can come as a surprise. This pack is just relatively chock full of mediocre cards. I mean, we might wheel like the Warhorse, doubtful though. It'll probably be like Siege Mastodon. There's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It might even be like a Ponder, which could be good with Day of Judgment. But yeah, we're just going to take it. It's the most powerful card in the pack. We're just going to take it and see what we end up getting past. Interesting. Well, they took the rare here. It looks like I really don't like green, as I've said before in this set. Passing us the overrun, it looks like they want us to be green. You'll notice that this pack is kind of like Sacred Wolf is a pretty good green card. Web is a good green card. And Rampant Growth, while not the best green card, still helps to get out things like overrun to fix your mana. So they might be expecting us to go green. Veteran isn't the best card with Day of Judgment, but I might just want to follow up my white here. I know this is a huge signal to go into green, but as I've said, I'm not a massive fan of green. Even when I'm shipped in overrun, I generally don't like to bite on that. I guess playing white-green in combination with Day isn't horrible, since this is a lot of answers, but overrun and Day of Judgment just don't really work together. Ring Flesh is okay, but not a clear signal to move into black, and I don't really like black-white together, so I'm just going to stick with my white and just take the Veteran here. Well, Giant Spider again is a solid green card. I think we're just going to ship the green. And now that we've shipped overrun, we're obviously going to ship the green. Stave Off, while an okay white card, I don't think I want to really take it this early. I think, well, it might be worth staying. Like, normally when I'm playing white, I like to pair it with red or with blue. These red cards, obviously, are not great. The blue cards here are decent. Like, we've seen they've taken uncommon and probably a common at this point. I think Skywinder Drake, I mean, Veteran's when I'm drafting white-blue, I like to play an aggressive white-blue strategy in this format more than a controlling one. I think Skywinder Drake is a great aggressive card. I think it's worth taking here over the Stave Off and branching out. Just in case blue is open, I think it's a slightly more powerful card, so I'm going to grab it. It might have been better to just stick with the Stave Off. Yeah, I mean, as we see here, if I had Stave Off, I would have taken Blood Ogre here. So it might have been better to just stay with white and wait one more pack to decide. That being said, like, Banalish Veteran isn't a horrible card. It's significantly worse than Blood Ogre. But, again, it fits with our theme. I think it's fine to have another Veteran here. Though, I mean, seen in Ogre here, they've taken a rare and 2 commons before this Ogre, so it could be a sign that red might be a little bit open. There's not really any black in this pack. I mean, this pack probably is... It's not incredibly deep. So it's kind of difficult to see exactly what they might have taken in the common slots. Probably some removal, maybe a black removal or red removal, but I'm just going to go with the Veteran here. Stay with what we got, and wow. Well, as much as I don't like black-white, seeing a 5th pick Doomblade, like, there's one uncommon, one rare gun. This doesn't make any sense to me. This means the people behind me are definitely not drafting black. At least a couple people, since Doomblade is worth taking over most cards in the uncommon and rare slot, and certainly the commons. There might have been a foil rare or something in this pack, or a good foil uncommon. I guess we could consider white-black, since we see a Doomblade. We could also, like in the last draft that I had, consider splashing Doomblades. With something like Manalith, though right now I don't really have reasons to play Manalith, but we are taking Doomblade, and I guess it's possible we might move into something like white-black, as much as I dislike it. Well, looking at this set, it looks like blue is now being cut. I mean, this pack could have been an anomaly, but there are no blue cards. Siege Mastodon, not that great of a white card. We can easily find other things that fulfill that role. In fact, none of these cards are that great. I think Warpath Gold might just be the pick here. It's another aggressive creature. And if we have to move into black, like, it's a fine card to be playing. I'd rather take him and move into the white-black plan. Like, if we are doing a white-black plan, it's kind of nice to have guys that require single color commitment too, since both colors can be kind of heavy on the double. And this is similar. Like, it's interesting, we're not seeing a lot of white here either, so it could be the fact that white's being cut. I mean, these guys are kind of middle of the wrong white cards. If white does end up being cut, it could be crazy, but we might just be abandoning this for some different strategy, like blue-black, but yeah, I mean, blue could be cut too, so, you know, or these packs are just generally weak. I think we just take the Goliath here. These are all kind of mid-level cards, and while we might shift into blue, like, our white's just stronger right now, and so I think white-black is still what we're leaning towards with that Goliath there. Well, this is an interesting pack. If we're playing white-black, like, Guardian's Pledge could be okay. We don't have a lot of white creatures, and we're playing day. We might not end up with a lot on the board. We have a lot of decent or just random creatures, so taking another Warpath Ghoul might not be the best. If we're forced out of white, it might be best to choose the Warpath Ghoul here again over the Purge. Scepter could be good, just since white doesn't have a lot of ways to activate Black's Bloodthirst. I think we're just going to take the Ghoul. Yeah. Just in case we have to shift out of white. Though there could be an argument for taking like Celestial Purge there too, which I didn't get time to mention. Since we already have a lot of vanilla 3 casting cost guys. Yeah, there's not much to say about this pack. I really dislike Swiftfoot Boots. Sometimes they're good against you, though. I don't really see myself playing a Siege Mastodon, so I'm just gonna grab them. Same thing with this pack, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to take here. I mean, maybe hating a Fling, but I don't necessarily see, like, Fling I guess is good in response to day, but then it just turns into a Love Axe, so maybe just taking another Boots. Yeah, I mean, not much to say here. I'm not playing Bank Chuckers, it's not great. Maybe I get some crazy enchantments and end up going with Thron Golem in an emergency pinch, but not much to say about that. Just kind of taking the rest of the chaff in these packs. It's interesting to get a Manalith here. This is actually kind of a nice gift since we do have some random 5-drops, and if we end up trying to splash something, like, nothing here. In black we have strong Doomblade, in white we have Judgment. None of these other cards are like high picks. That pack was relatively overall weak, so we could easily abandon one of those colors. Wow. I think this guy is that strong. Like, that would have been an argument for getting the Scepter. 6/6 flyer on turn 5 is pretty nuts. Like, he's obviously better than Sengir. He combos pretty well with Sengir. And then there's Mind Control, which we only have one blue card. Don't think it's worth us shifting away from, like, Doomblade and Day, though. I mean, we could make an argument for abandoning one of these colors. Splashing Doomblade, like, we could abandon black, splash Doomblade with the Manalith, and go blue-white, take the Mind Control. However, I think since we have the option of taking Bloodlord here, I think it's just better to take him. Like, he's that strong, and we can look to, like, hopefully wheel something like Bloodseeker, which we probably will out of this pack, or even the Stave Off. Like, this is a very deep pack. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 decent cards. So I think we're going to wheel something like the Bloodseeker, possibly the Stave Off, maybe our Sentinel. And I'm definitely taking Bloodlord here. This isn't interesting. I'm going to hide the Scavenger Drake. I think, though, again, we could be somehow leaving white and going into blue, so I'll keep that in the back of my mind. I don't like Thran Golem, but he could be an argument for taking Divine Favor here. Our real choices here are Divine Favor and Deathmark. I think Deathmark is just a much stronger card overall, and it actually could end up being good against us if we're playing white. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and take the Deathmark here first. We don't have any Oramancers. Divine Favor does not work very well with the Judgment, though it does work with Thorn Golem. I think we're just going to go ahead and take the Deathmark here. I don't know if we're going to wheel anything from this pack, since overall it is not very strong. Well, Gravedigger is quite clearly the best pick for us here. It works with Day, gets back things like Bloodlord if he happens to die. There's not much they can kill him. And yeah, there's not much else to be said about that. I think he's just clearly the strongest card. It's interesting that there hasn't been many, I mean, these packs have been kind of shallow. There haven't been many white or blue cards that are high power level coming. And it's interesting to see an Outrage and a Gorehorn Minotaurs right here. I guess we didn't pass much red, but yeah, these packs have generally been weak overall. Anyway, I think here we're probably just going to continue on the white theme. We have 8 creatures already. I think Spirit Mantle is a fine card, and if we can end up picking up something like I think it's much better than Divine Favor, just for, obviously it's protection from creatures. You can't bounce it with Aether Adept. It gains that much more playability. There could be even an argument for shifting into red if we're seeing it this late and just playing a heavy base black deck with something like that. But we already have a Day, so I don't think that argument really holds that much water. I think just taking the Spirit Mantle here is going to be the superior play, and just sticking with what we got. Jeez. Well, it looks like it might have been better to move into red, seeing Incinerate here. But here, obviously, Child of Night is a great card with Bloodlord. It's a good card early. We don't have any early 2-drops. I think it's quite clearly the pick. Now this is kind of interesting pick. It's either Peregrine Griffin or the Griffin Sentinel. We have a lot of vanilla 3-drops, but we don't have a lot of ways to make sure this guy gets Bloodthirst. Sometimes it can be hard to break these guys through defense, so it's a little bit easier for the Sentinel. So it could be an argument for just throwing out the Sentinel. Like right now we could be playing Thron Golem since we've seen Spirit Mantle, and we could end up getting a couple more enchantments randomly. Yeah, I actually don't know. These are very similar in power level in terms of enabling Bloodthirst. I don't know which one's stronger. I think for the time being, gosh, I'm going to take the Griffin. I think it's slightly stronger. And wow, now we have the argument to stay in white with this late pacifism. Yeah, I don't know if this guy's better than the Sentinel, especially in my deck with Bloodlord. Like, as I said, we'd probably rather have him coming out and then Bloodlord coming out. But if we're saving for things like Day, we sometimes might not want to have that 3-drop, and then just go ahead and Day of Judgment and then drop the 5-drop after. So there could be arguments for this. I mean, I don't necessarily like playing Zombie Goliath, so it's not like we have a glut of 5-drops right now, since these two might end up being cut. Anyway, Pacifism is the best card here. It's kind of crazy still seeing it in the pack. No reason not to take it. And here is a Welcome Oromancer. Since we have just got a Pacifism, we have the Spirit Mantle. Fits very well in our deck. Especially because now we can effectively Pacifism something early, even though we're going to Day of Judgment it away, and then plan to get it back with an Oromancer. And awesome, the Stave Off Wield. I thought it might. Just that's an easy choice for us. There's nothing else really to get from that pack. And now I think we just kind of... I'm trying to think if there's a use for us to play Disentomb in our deck. And I don't really see that use, though we have some. Like, it's interesting to bring back Gravedigger and Oromancer. I don't really like hating the Lavax, so yeah, I guess we can take a Disentomb. Since Siege Mastodon is, well, I'm thinking he's slightly playable. I doubt we're ever going to be playing this card. He's decent against us because he blocks all of our crap. This guy's decent against us because he trades with our ghouls for a lesser drop, but I'm just going to take him since we might end up playing him, even though it's doubtful. And nice. I think Drifting Shade's a great card. Maybe we will take that over the Divine Favor. I'm leaning actually toward Divine Favor here since we got the Oromancer and we have a Thron Golem that could be fun to play with it. But no, I think Drifting Shade's slightly better overall. Divine Favor is just not... it's not a card I necessarily want to be playing. Like, if I don't want to be playing Divine Favor, it's not a reason to get it to make me want to play Thron Golem, which I also don't want to be playing. Like, if you can pull it off and they don't have the removal, it's awesome, but if you pull it off and then they drop Manic Vandals, it's awful. Interesting. Double Chandra's Outrage in this pack. Kind of crazy. Best card here for us, obviously, is Lawkeeper. Don't, like, we might wheel a Deathmark. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess you could say 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's doubtful. We're probably going to wheel something like the Brindlebore and Disentomb. So I don't think we're getting 2 cards out of this pack. Obviously, the Lawkeeper is best for us here. The other reason for, going back to the Drifting Shade Divine Favor thing, though, the other reason for favoring Divine Favor is that Drifting Shade really requires a heavy black commitment, and this deck looks like it's going to have a mixed commitment between the two. Well, there could be an argument for taking something like Tormented Soul this early, just to enable. We don't have a lot of Bloodthirst. We just have this guy, the Bloodlord. So I don't think it's necessary. I think I'd rather have something like Ring Flesh, get a little bit more stable removal in here. Armored Warhorse, like, we don't have a lot of early drops, but it's not something I really want when we're probably going to be, like, Armored Warhorse and Drifting Shade don't really work so well together in the same deck. And a smooth curve into Day of Judgment is also not something we're really shooting for. So I think the Ring Flesh is just going to be slightly better overall, and I'm going to go ahead and grab it. Again, we're probably not wheeling anything great from that last pack based on what was there. Assault Griffin's clearly the best card here. We're lacking a bunch of 4-drops. And while Dignitaries and Vanguard are fine, they're not really what we're looking for in this deck. It's more of an aggressive deck. Now I'm going to go ahead and hide the Siege Mastodon. And just grab the Griffin. Wow, okay, here's a Vampire Outcast is quite the gift. Very similar to our Doomblade. I think nobody's really heavily committed to black over there. Hopefully we get something like Tormented Soul or a Scepter so that we can easily enable Bloodthirst. I like the Oremancer here. I'm not going to take it, obviously, but it's interesting to see that it's still in the pack. I don't think it's going to wheel, but, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. So it's possible, but we're probably going to end up with Master Thief, Lifelink, you know, Demon's Horn, Plains. But yeah, I'm taking the Outcast here, of course. There is literally nothing for us in this pack. Cudgel Troll is hard to deal with. Notice this is just Destroy. I think we're just going to hate the Cudgel Troll because it kind of annihilates our entire game plan. And right now there's no reason to really play Manalith. If we get any other cards, like we're taking out Thrawn Golem, taking out, you know, I actually have Manalith in here right now, taking out Goliath. Brink of Disaster could be okay just to shut a guy down since it's going to get date away later, but I think just hating the Cudgel Troll here. I don't see myself playing Pride Guardian as an early blocker since it dies 2 to the Judgment. Though it could work against Judgment and having them commit more creatures to the board, I guess. Okay, here Gravedigger is quite clearly the best card. For reasons mentioned before, I'm just going to go ahead and grab it. We're really happy to see a late Child of Night. We now have, what, 2 vampires to go with our Bloodlord. Obviously these come out earlier, but if they do happen to come out later, they combo very well, so that's awesome. Like if we play Bloodlord and draw him, he turns into a much better card late game. In fact, you can cast this guy without Bloodthirst if you think he can enable Bloodthirst for something like this the next turn, which is kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab him. Don't think we do have strong cards in the Bloodlord in the day, but I just don't think Diabolic Tutor is going to be what I want here. Probably just going to go with the Duskhunter bat since we're lacking on some of our early drops, and this can help enable Bloodthirst for something like the Outcasts or the Bloodlord, so I'm going to just go with him. And wow, good, the Deathmark did wheel. We're happy to see that. We can go ahead and scoop it up. Divine Favor and Mighty Leap both serve similar purposes, like to get rid of. Mighty Leap is better in the trick standpoint. They both get rid of webs that we've seen. This gets rid of webs on more things, like my Lawkeeper. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take the Dark Favor for that reason. It also works with my Auramancer, so I think it could be slightly stronger. Stonehorn Dignitaries or Demystify. Right now, just looking at my deck, I don't think we want the Dignitaries. We have Stave Off as a defense against some creature enchantments. I'm trying to think if we want Demystify against anything else. Like, if there's a Call to the Grave, we're already pretty good. Gosh. And, of course, I time out. Wow, an Auramancer. I should have highlighted one of those cards. I'm not used to the talking. And I have my sound off, so that was kind of a mistake. Auramancer did wheel. This is awesome. I'm taking it. I'm taking Pride Guard in for the sideboard card. Just grabbing the random stuff. Yeah, that kind of sucked that I time outed on that pick. That's what I get for not playing with sound while I'm recording. Anyway, we have, it looks like a decent deck here. We're kind of set up against other green and white creatures. And yeah, overall it seems like it has a decent amount of synergy, even though I hate playing black-white. I think we built a deck that doesn't really heavily lie on one type of mana or the other. I'm glad to get that Auramancer light, because I think we're going to end up playing both Auramancers. We will debate that in a second. Deathmark, I might be playing one main deck. It's definitely something that's worth debating. Should put these here because I'm not playing them. Well, right now we have 17 creatures. With the Auramancers, we only have 2 enchantments if we're going this route. We do have the Dark Favor, which I'm not that inclined right now to play main deck. It just doesn't, I don't think it does enough, even with 2 Auramancers, to go main deck. When we're looking to cut something here, I think it might actually just have to be an Auramancer early. Well, you can make an argument to cut a Warpath Goal over an Auramancer, since the Auramancer does function very well with those 2 enchantments. We have 17 creatures. I think I would like to get in a Deathmark main. Like, if we're playing against the green deck, our sideboard's probably going to be something like, we're going to bring in the Dark Favor against the webs. So we want to keep the 2 Auramancers. And we're going to take something like the Warpath Ghouls out. And... And maybe the Drifting Shade out against green, and then put in the Deathmarks, and as I said, the Dark Favor. Yeah, I mean... There could be... Deathmark's such a strong card main deck, but I think we need to play one over an Auramancer. Though it can also end up being a totally dead card, which would be quite frustrating. We don't have enough enchantments for the Auramancer, so that they would be just kind of a wasted vanilla 2/2 early drop, and the Warpath Ghouls might be slightly stronger, being able to trade with something like an opposing veteran. I mean, looking at this, I'm probably playing like 9 swamps, 8 plains. We have reason to get both things out early. We don't really need double black until later on. We don't need double white until much later on most of the time. There's no reason to play anything like the Disentombs now that we have double Gravedigger. Yeah, I think this is how we're going to go. Obviously, it can be a risk playing Deathmark main deck, but I think it's that strong of a card. I don't want to commit both of them at this point. Especially since we're also playing white. But as you can see, our white cards aren't the most powerful, so there's definitely at least 1 or 2 other white drafters at the table. We know there's a green drafter with Overrun, which is another reason to play Deathmark, since we can kind of limit his creature count. Yeah, I'm going to go with this. Let's see if they suggest what I suggest. In fact, they do. I'm just doing one more once over. Yep, and I guess I'm gonna stick with this. We'll see you for round one.